Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. Thank you for watching this video, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how you can learn almost everything you need to know to start shooting fantastic videos with your DSLR faster than you ever thought possible. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned professional, beginner, or hobbyist photographer. If you want to take your DSLR video skills to another level and produce professional, world-class videos, keep watching. The best part is that what you're about to learn will work for you even if you're a one-man band, without a crew, or on a shoestring budget. But before we get to that, let me ask you a few questions. Are you new to DSLR video? Have you had a DSLR for a while but haven't ventured into shooting video because you're just not sure where to start? Are you a seasoned photographer who wants to add DSLR video to your arsenal? Do you want to make more money with your DSLR? Or do you want to learn how professional filmmakers shoot and produce video with a DSLR? If you answered yes to any of those questions, then you're in luck, because I've teamed up with award-winning filmmaker Todd Wolfe to finally create a solution to learn exactly how to shoot and produce breathtaking video with your DSLR in a matter of days. You don't have to deal with months or years of bad results and frustrating experimentation like I did. You also don't have to waste a ton of time trying to filter through the inaccurate and scattered tutorials available around the internet. And you won't have to spend a ton of time and money in school taking classes to learn everything we've included in this guide. We have created this 6-hour comprehensive video guide that not only teaches you the fundamentals and basics of DSLR video, but puts them into practice by joining Todd and I on location for 4 real-world video shoots that include a music video, commercial interview, short film, and even a YouTube production. But what's great is that this guide isn't the stiff, boring, and useless training you've seen on other websites and in college courses or books. We do it in a fun and informative way. And after you watch this guide, you'll have all of the knowledge you need to start shooting impressive DSLR video today. But why wait? Let me give you some free tips right now, straight from the guide. Enjoy.
Yellow ball, I got the yellow ball.
Oh, all right. I think I ate the most balls there. So why are we using Hungry Hippos to demonstrate anything? Well, we're going to get into frame rate. Our cameras have the ability to be set at different frame rates, and that's what Todd's going to explain. So what are the different frame rates we're going to be working with?
The general frame rates that everybody's going to find in their cameras is 24 frames per second, 30 frames per second, and 60 frames per second.
So what you're saying is that at 24 frames, we have literally 24 individual still images, and 30, there's 60 still frames that all make up the video?
That's exactly right.
So what is that giving us?
24 frames per second is going to give you that cinematic film look. It's going to give you a motion blur. We've all grown up watching movies shot at 24 frames per second, and a lot of guys tend to gravitate towards 24 frames just to imitate that look.
So that gives you a certain look that may be good for one thing, but maybe 30 is better for something else.
30 frames is going to give us a more realistic look. There's actually more frames there, capturing more action, but it's going to give you that video look.
So what are we going to do here to demonstrate?
We're going to stick with that cinematic movie-like look. So 24 frames per second is where we're going to live on all these examples. The only thing we're going to change is the shutter speed. So let's start off with this 1/50th of a second and see what that looks like.
What we're going to do here is show you how shutter speed affects what's going on in the image. We're going to use a metronome so we have something that's constant and moving. We've already locked in the settings for the camera because all we're focusing in on right here is what's going to happen when we change the shutter speed. All right, let's see what happens with this metronome as an example.
All right, and we're rolling and action. Now this is a very pleasing image. This is that cinematic look we were talking about. Great place to be.
This looks all right. What's going to happen if we slow it down to a 30th of a second?
Let's see what it looks like. So we're down to 1/30th and we're recording. Now what's going to happen here is we're just picking up more of that motion blur. Not a terrible thing, but it's definitely something to be aware of if you push it down that far.
So we've shown you a lot of different lights that you can use for your setups, but we haven't shown an actual setup, and Todd's going to tell us about a simple one right here.
We're going to do a classic setup called a 3-point lighting scheme. It's got your key, it's got your fill, and it's got your hair light.
So what I want you guys to know is that we've already locked in the settings for the camera. This isn't about the settings of the camera and what lens and all of that. It's all about the lighting. So Todd, what are we doing here?
First thing we're going to do is we're going to turn on our key light. That's our main source of light. It's going to be the strongest light in the whole scene. So let's turn that on and see what it looks like.
So while Todd's doing that, I want to let you know that if you just have one setup, I know that this is called 3-point lighting, but we want you to know that with just one light, you can still make this happen. We just want to show you that 1, 2, 3 lights and how that all works together, just so that you have an idea that you can build off of that for the future. So we just showed you guys a lot of different options that you have to get audio into the camera, but there's one mistake that I made when I first started out because I didn't know any better, and that was how to set the audio levels in my camera. I set it to auto, and auto may not be the right choice. Why is auto not the right choice, Todd?
Well, it would be great if the camera did all the work. Unfortunately, when it's set to auto, when it's real quiet and nobody's talking, it looks for sound. So it raises your recording level and you get a lot of hiss. Next thing you know, somebody starts talking again and it compresses that audio to try to keep up with all the different levels.
Right, so basically what's happening there is the camera is set to auto and it's bouncing up, it's bouncing down based off of just whatever audio is there. So if you have some quiet times, it's really gonna raise those levels. You're gonna hear a lot of hiss, and that isn't good. I hear a lot of hiss in a lot of my early videos, and that really is the reason why. So what is the way around it?
Well, the first thing you gotta do is get out of auto and go to manual.
If you enjoyed that, be sure to watch until the end, because we'll give you another free look inside our video shoots. But before we go any further, if you're not familiar with who I am, my name is Jared Poland, aka The Fro from FroKnowsPhoto.com. I've been a professional photographer since I was 15 years old, and during my career, I've shot photos for Rolling Stone, the Philadelphia Flyers, Perry Farrell of Jane's Addiction, Modest Yahoo, and hundreds of well-known musicians, tech visionaries, business owners, and celebrities. For the past 4 years, I've been creating fun and informative videos that have helped hundreds of thousands of photographers and videographers of all skill levels. My training videos have been featured on sites like Digital Photography School, DP Review, Petapixels, F-Stoppers, and many more. I've been a photographer for over 20 years, and when my first DSLR gave me the ability to shoot video, I thought the transition would come naturally. I was wrong, but I didn't know why yet. At first, I thought shooting video was easy. I set up the camera, set my exposure exactly how I would set it if I were taking a still, and then press the record button. Little did I know, I wasn't even close to doing things properly. I didn't know what a frame rate was and why it was important. I didn't understand that the exposure triangle was totally different for video, and I had no idea how important audio was. I quickly discovered that photography and videography are completely different animals, and just because you're proficient at one doesn't mean you're proficient at the other, which I found out the hard way. Here are some questions I had. How should the different settings be used for the look or style I want? How should I set up the scenes to keep the viewer engaged? What are the hidden rules of shooting amazing video that don't apply to still photography? How do I minimize the time I spend editing in post-production? How do I get the sound just right for any situation? What do I do as far as composition and storytelling to make the video memorable? And a bunch of other things like what gear should I use, what lighting equipment I needed, and how to do all of this on my own without a crew. I tried reading articles and watching videos from around the internet, but the information out there is scattered and often low quality. It made learning how to do it professionally on my own nearly impossible. At this point, I knew I needed guidance from someone who was more skilled at video production to show me all the things I was doing wrong and to guide me towards better video. Otherwise, I would continue wasting time shooting videos that were just good enough. So what did I do? When the time came to film some very large projects, I sought out a seasoned professional who was just as good at video production as I am at photography, and that was Todd Wolf. I hired him to shoot and produce both of my video guides, the